this clear with everyone? You can hear my voice?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, so today's topic will be on the another topic, that is the anticoagulant agent. Okay, so in the last class, I taught about coagulants, coagulant agents or the medicines which help in clotting of blood. Okay, so today we'll be starting on anticoagulant agent. Okay, which is just the opposite of the action of coagulant agent. ठीक है, तो anticoagulant agent का मतलब है if there is any blood clot, ठीक है, it will not allow the blood to clot. It will it'll try to thin the blood, it will try to break the blood clot. Okay, so that there will be a great flow of the blood. Okay, so wherever there is blood clot, if we give anticoagulant agent, so what happens is वो जो clot है वो break हो जाते हैं and there will be a normal flow. Okay, so these are the anticoagulant. Okay, so whenever you see the screen on your, whenever you see the PowerPoint in your screen, please let me know. ठीक है? Okay. So we'll start with the introduction. Okay, so anticoagulant and antiplatelet drugs, they both reduce the risk of blood clot. Okay, so these medicines, anticoagulant, anti का मतलब है opposite, है ना? So anticoagulant will not allow the blood to clot. Okay, whenever there is, whenever there's any disease condition. Okay, so they are often called as blood thinners. So anticoagulants are also known as blood thinners. Matlab they try to thin the blood. They try to break the blood clot. Okay, but they actually do not really thin the blood. So antiplatelet interferes with the binding of the platelets or the process that starts the formation of blood clot. So another word is the antiplatelet. ठीक है, antiplatelet means obstructing the action of the platelet. So it is interfering with the coagulation process. We know that platelets are responsible for the coagulation also. है ना? They are responsible for the blood clot. So antiplatelets, they do not allow the blood to clot. ठीक है? They do not allow the coagulation process. Okay, so anticoagulant or antiplatelet, they are the same. Then anticoagulants interferes with the proteins in the blood that are involved in the coagulation. These proteins are called as factors. Okay, so antiplatelet क्या करते हैं? ये platelets को they do not allow the platelets to act, है ना? They obstruct the action of platelets. They block the action of the platelets so that there will be no blood clot. Okay, and anticoagulant on the other side, they interfere with the process of the coagulation by obstructing the proteins. Yaad hai, I talked about the 12 fact and the 13 factors that they, किसी को याद है? There are 13 factors in Roman numbers which are responsible for the coagulation process. Anybody remembers? Students? Hello, you can hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so do you remember the coagulation process? I showed you the table, the flow chart also. There are
Yes,
the
ma'am.
13 factors. Okay, so anticoagulant medicines or anticoagulant agents, they are interfering with the factors. Okay, they do not allow the factors to be activated. They do not allow the process of coagulation by interfering the factors. Yeah, okay. So there are 13 factors and anticoagulants, they are obstructing the 13 factors. Okay, they do not allow the 13 factors to be activated. They do not allow their action to continue. So this leads to blocking of the blood clot. Okay, so they do not allow the the blood to clot whenever there is any injury. And antiplatelets, they block the action of the platelets, okay, uh, from forming the blood clot. Okay, so there are there are two terms. One is anticoagulant and the other is antiplatelet. Okay, so is this clear till here? किसी को doubt है?
मैम क्लियर है.
Okay. So anticoagulant is a definition. It is an agent that is used to prevent the formation of blood clot. So it does not allow the blood clot to happen. Anticoagulant is a drug that prevents or slows down the process of blood clotting. They delay or reduce the process of blood clot formation. So they do not, they try to reduce the action of the process of blood clot, and it blocks the action of the factors, that is the factors 13. Okay, there are 13 factors, so they obstruct the action of the 13 factors. So in the slide number 4, okay, so there are 13 factors. Factor 1, these are all in Roman numbers. Okay, so I've taught you this in the last class. I will not repeat it again. Now coming to the classification of anticoagulants. Okay, so there are 4 classification of anticoagulant. Number 1, it is called as heparin and low molecular weight heparin. Okay, so there is a heparin, and number 2, there is a lower molecular weight heparin. Okay, or short form LMWH. So this is the first classification. Second classification आते हैं vitamin K antagonist. Okay, antagonist means something which is opposite. Okay, so these vitamin K antagonists, these are the medicines that obstructs or interfere with the action of the vitamin K. Then third classification is called direct thrombin inhibitors. Okay, so these agents, they obstruct the formation of thrombin, which is responsible for blood clot. And last classification number 4 is called as factor 10A inhibitor. Okay, so these are the medicines that obstructs the action of factor number 10. Okay, it does not allow factor number 10 to be activated. Okay, so these are called factor 10A inhibitors. So there are 4 classification. Number 1, heparin and lower molecular weight heparin. Number 2, vitamin K antagonist. Number 3, direct thrombin inhibitors. And number 4, factor 10A inhibitors. Okay, so these are the 4 classification of anticoagulant. Okay, so today I will be explaining more in detail about heparin and lower molecular weight heparin, because these are all this is the first classification, and it is a commonly used medicine in the hospital, in the wards. Okay, so we'll start with heparin. Okay, so heparin, the generic name or the chemical name comes in the name of heparin or heparin sodium. Okay, heparin sodium and 0.9 sodium chloride. Okay, then there is also another generic name, that is heparin sodium lock flush solution. Okay, so these are the chemical name. Then brand name or trade name of heparin, they can be heparin. Then there is heparin Leo, heparin lock. Then there is also another one which is called as heparin lock flush. Then heplock and heplock UP. Okay, so these are the trade names or the brand names of heparin injection. Then the available forms, it comes in the form of injection. Okay, so it is in a vial. Okay, I think most of you have seen injection heparin. Okay, because they are present in the emergency ward also, even in the normal wards also, medical ward, surgical ward. So the available forms, it comes in the form of injection. The dose comes in 1000, 2000 units per ml, or 2500, 5000, 7500, 10,000, 12,500, 20,000, 40,000 units per ml. So there are many available forms of heparin depending upon the dose. Okay, so they are also single dose, and they can be unit dose form also, and they are also available in lock flush. Okay, lock flush solution. Okay, so patients with central line. Okay, I have you seen central line? Have you seen another line which is inserted uh, from the veins that is in the near the carotid veins, jugular vein? किसी ने देखा है?
Yes,
From the
ma'am.
neck area. Yes, there is also another, you can say like a cannula, which is being inserted. So from there
Yes, ma'am.
also we can give injection. Okay, from there we can give injection to the patient. So क्या हो जाते हैं, because there can be blood clot. Okay, so it will obstruct the medicine from going into the patient's body. Okay, so we need to clean, or we need a clear path in that central line. ठीक है, तो हम क्या देते हैं? हेपलॉक फ्लश. Okay, or heparin lock flush. So this heparin lock flush will it will uh, it'll it'll try to to destroy the blood clot. It will not allow the blood clot to happen. Okay, it will try to maintain a clear pathway, so that the medicine, whatever medicine we are going to give, it will directly go to the patient. Okay, so there will be no obstruction in between. So heparin lock flush is very important. Okay, and even when we do ABG test, okay, arterial blood gas procedure. Okay, so when we do ABG test, when we are inserting the needle into the patient's radial artery, so first we have to flush it with heparin. Okay, so we can use heparin lock flush. Okay, we flush the syringe with heparin, and then after that you insert the needle into the radial artery of the patient and take the blood sample. Okay, so here we are using heparin flush. So heparin is a very important anticoagulant medicine. Okay, it does not allow the blood to clot. Then so I've taught you about the chemical name or the generic name, the trait name, and the available form or the dose. Now coming to the indication. Okay, so we can give subcutaneous injection, or we can give IV injections. Okay, so if we are giving by subcutaneous, uh, patient suffering from venous thrombosis, that is, there is blood clotting in the deep veins of the patient. Okay, so there is saphenous veins. Okay, so these are deep veins. Okay, which are present in the lower extremity of the patient, or in the lower legs. Okay, so what happen is there can be blood clot in the saphenous veins or in the deep veins. So because of that blood clot, there will be no proper blood flow to the ankle, to the lower extremity of the patient. So we have to give injection heparin. Okay, so we can give in subcutaneous. In venous thrombosis, we give the dose 15,000 unit every 12 hours. Okay, so every 12 hours we can give 15,000 units of injection heparin to patients suffering from venous thrombosis. Then if we are giving by IV, then we can give in unstable angina and venous thromboembolism 5,000 units. Okay, IV loading dose followed by 1,000 to 2,000 continuous infusion, or we call it as maintenance dose. Okay, so venous thromboembolism. Okay, venous thromboembolism is basically blood clot in the you can say in the coronary artery. Okay, in the coronary artery, which is supplying oxygenated blood to the heart, if there is any blood clot, okay, in the coronary artery. So it will obstruct the blood flow. It will obstruct, it will not allow the oxygenated blood to flow properly to the heart. So we need to remove that blood clot. So we can give injection heparin. Okay, we can give IV, and the dose is 5,000 units. Then if patient has performed, has we have done a surgery which is called as open heart surgery, then even in such conditions we have to give injection heparin 150 to 300 units per kg. Okay, so if a patient is suffering from any heart problem, any heart disease condition, and we have done an open heart surgery, okay, so we can give injection heparin so that there will be no blood clot in any arteries. Okay. Then the mechanism of action of heparin. Heparin increases the inhibitory action of antithrombin 3 on clotting factors 12A, 11A, 9A, 10A, and thrombin. So this heparin injection, okay, what does it do? It stops the action. Okay, it tries to stop the action of the clotting factors, that is factor number 12A, 11A, 9A, 10A, and thrombin. Okay, so heparin acts on these factors. So it will act on these factors and it will not allow the blood to clot. This inhibits the conversion of prothrombin to thrombin and fibrinogen to fibrin. So heparin will not allow the conversion of prothrombin to be converted into thrombin, and it will not allow the conversion of fibrinogen to fibrin. Okay, so there will be no fibrin, there will be no thrombin, so there will be no blood clot. So it also inhibits the platelet function. So heparin also acts as an antiplatelet. So it obstructs the action of the platelets. It does not allow the platelet to be activated. Okay, so this reduces the activity of platelet at a high dose. Okay, so this is about heparin. So when do we give heparin injection? So like I said, we give if patient is suffering from any deep vein thrombosis. Okay? If patient is suffering from venous thromboembolism or patient suffering from pulmonary embolism, if there is any blood clot in the lungs. Then if patient is suffering from atrial fibrillation, okay, if patient is suffering from DIC, disseminated intravascular coagulation, that is, there is blood clot in the, this is a disease condition where there is too much of blood clot. Then we give heparin injection when we are doing procedure like EBG, okay, when we are taking the sample for EBG test. Then we give for if patient is undergoing dialysis procedure. Okay, we do not want any blood clots, so we use heparin. Okay, during dialysis also. Then we can give injection heparin if patient is suffering from any myocardial infarction because there is a blood clot or emboli in the coronary artery. Then we can give if in patients suffering from CVA, cerebrovascular accident. Okay, so if there is any blood clot uh, uh, in the carotid arteries, okay, so that will obstruct the, if there is any blood clot in the carotid arteries, so blood flow will not be going properly into the brain. Okay, so the brain may not get proper oxygenated blood, so patient can undergo CVA, cerebrovascular accident. Okay, so that is stroke. So we can give heparin in these disease condition. Okay, so this is the indication. Now coming to the side effects of heparin. Okay, after giving injection heparin, so patient can have slight fever, headache, chills, nausea, vomiting. Patient can have constipation, epistaxis, bleeding from the nose, bruising, slight hematuria, that is, there can be urine in the stool. Okay, patient can have skin necrosis if you are giving by subcutaneous injection. Then patient can have, there can be chances for tissue death. Then patient can have osteoporosis, alopecia. Okay, then some patients can be very sensitive, hypersensitive to the injection heparin. So they can have symptoms like rashes all over their body, redness all over their body. A patient can have conjunctivitis, okay, rhinitis, that is common cold. Patient can have asthma and anaphylactic shock. Okay, so these are the side effects of heparin injection. And if we are giving too much of heparin injection, ठीक है, तो heparin, what does it do? It tries to obstruct the blood clot. It tries to, destroy the blood clot. You know, it will not allow the blood clot to happen. So what happen is there will be continuous blood flow. So patient can go under excessive bleeding. Okay, so if you're giving too much of heparin injection, patient can bleed. Okay. Is this clear with heparin injection? Students, can you hear?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Okay. So if you are giving overdose, okay, so like I said, if we are giving too much of heparin injection to the patient, okay, continuously you are giving injection heparin. So what happens is patient can, uh, the most important complication is patient can undergo hemorrhage, that is excessive bleeding from the body. Okay. Now coming to the nursing intervention or nursing responsibility. So we have to, first of all, we have to check the health history of the patient. If patient had any stroke, if patient had any open heart surgery before, okay, then we have to check for any sensitivity. If there are any, if patient is allergic or hypersensitive to the injection heparin, okay, then we have to check their kidney function test. We can perform kidney function test, liver function test. We have to we can do the test of CBC to check how much is their platelet count. Take it to check what is their hemoglobin. Okay, so we can perform these tests before giving injection heparin. Okay, then injection heparin should not be given IM. Okay, याद रखना heparin injection you should not give IM, only IV or subcutaneous. Okay, and we have to check for any signs of bleeding. Okay, so like I said that if you're giving too much of heparin injection, क्या हो जाते हैं, hemorrhage हो सकता है patient को. This is because of overdose. Okay, and use heparin lock needle to avoid any repeated injection. So this heparin lock needle we can use so that we do not have to insert the needle again and again for giving injection heparin. Okay, so these are the nursing responsibilities, and also check for the side effects of injection heparin. Okay, so this was about heparin injection. Okay, is this clear to everyone? Anybody has any doubt with heparin injection?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So now coming to the second, that is the lower molecular weight heparin injection. Okay, so this is a ready-made pre-filled injection. Okay, it is already there in a syringe, and the syringe is a little bit hard, and it is made up of glass. Okay, this is a pre-filled medicine. Okay, we do not have to take a syringe, take a needle, then we don't need a vial here. Okay, so we don't have to load the medicine, so it is already there, ready made. Okay, so this is a lower molecular weight heparin. So I've put a picture here, so when you see the slide, make sure you see this picture. So the generic name or the chemical name, it comes in the name of enoxaparin sodium injection. Okay, the brand name comes in the it can be Lovinox, or it can be LMWX40. Okay, so that is a trade name. The availability, so the dose which is available, it is 30 mg per 0.3 ml. Okay, then it can come also in 40 mg per 0.4 ml. ठीक है, 80 mg per 0.6 ml, 100 mg per 1 ml injection. Okay, so this is the availability, or you can say the dose which it is available. Then the mechanism of action, enoxaparin is a lower molecular weight heparin with anticoagulant properties. So enoxaparin is an anticoagulant, meaning that it will obstruct, or it will stop the action of the clotting factors. Okay, clotting factors, which this acts by enhancing the inhibition rate of activated clotting factors, including the thrombin and factor 10A. Okay, so here this enoxaparin injection, okay, it is an anticoagulant, so it will stop the action, or it will stop the factor number 10 to be activated. It will not allow the 10 factor to be in an activated form, to be active. Okay, and it will not allow the thrombin to be formed. Okay, so this is obstructing, or this is stopping the action of the coagulation process. Okay, how? Because they are acting on the 10th factor, and they're also acting on the thrombin. It will not allow them to be activated. So this is enoxaparin injection. Okay, so the dose that we are giving, route and dosage, okay, depending upon the uh, disease condition. So if patient is suffering from venous thromboembolism, that is when there is a blood clot in our veins, okay, during surgical procedure, then we have to give low to moderate risk. We have to give 20 mg once daily, okay, with first dose 2 hours after surgery. Okay, so the dose is 20 mg once daily if we are giving to a patient after the surgery, and 40 mg once daily with first dose 12 hours post operatively. Then we can also give in patients with deep vein thrombosis. So like I said, deep vein thrombosis is blood clotting in the deep veins, that is in the saphenous veins of our lower extremity. Okay, so in such patient, we will give 1 mg per kg every 12 hours for 5 days, and until oral coagulation are established. So continuously for 5 days, we will give injection enoxaparin. How much mg? 1 mg per kg every 12 hours. Then we can also give in unstable angina, okay, where there can be blood clot in the coronary artery, and that is obstructing the blood, the oxygenated blood to flow into the heart. So because of that, patient can have unstable angina pain. So in such patient, we will give 1 mg per kg or 100 units per kg every 12 hours for 5 days, okay, until the doctors has give the orders to stop. Okay, so this is about the route and dosage. Now coming to the indication. So like I said, we will give patients suffering from DVT, deep vein thrombosis. We will give if patient is suffering from pulmonary embolism, that is blood clot in the lungs. If patient is suffering from acute coronary syndrome, okay, if there is any blood clot in the coronary arteries, so in such conditions also we can give injection enoxaparin, and we can give if patient is completed with the surgery of the knees, surgery of the hips, and abdominal surgery. Okay. Then what are the contraindication? In which condition we should not give enoxaparin injection? If patient is having mild bleeding. Okay, if patient is having mild bleeding, then we should not give injection enoxaparin. If patient is having pain and ecchymosis or erythema, or if there is any irritation or hypersensitivity at the injection site, we should not we should stop the injection. And if patient is suffering from thrombocytopenia. Okay, so these are the contraindications for injection enoxaparin. Okay, so when we are giving injection enoxaparin, okay, because the needle, it is hypodermic needle, it is a very small needle. So we can give, when we give this injection, we can give 90 degrees, okay, at an angle of 90 degree to the patient. So the nursing responsibilities, number one, you have to perform the test, okay, CBC test perform karna hai, LFT test, LFT, KFT, okay, all the blood coagulation test we have to perform. If patient is having blood in the stool, or patient is having blood in the urine, then we have to perform the urine test, stool test. Then we have to monitor the platelets of the patient, okay. Then if patient is having platelet count less than 10 lakhs per millimeter per cube, then we have to stop the medicine, okay. Then monitor closely for the patient with kidney disease, okay. So patient suffering from any kidney damage or kidney disease condition, so we have to monitor their signs and symptoms properly, okay. And if there is any side effects, then we have to inform to the patient. That is, if patient is continuously bleeding, okay, bleeding is not stopping, then we have to stop the injection, okay. We have to stop the anticoagulant, okay. So all these should be noted down, and it should be reported to the doctor if there's any changes in the body, okay. So this is about the lower molecular weight heparin injection, or we call it as enoxaparin injection, okay. So is this clear about heparin and uh, lower molecular heparin injection? किसी को doubt है? Anybody has any doubts regarding these two topics?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So today I've taught you about the definition of anticoagulant. Okay, anticoagulant medicines, they stop the action of the factors. Okay, the protein factors, the clotting factors that I've told you. There are 13 factors, so they stop the action of these factors. That's why they are not allowing the blood to clot. So these are called anticoagulant. Antiplatelets, antiplatelet medicines क्या करते हैं? They do not allow the platelets to be active. They do not allow the action of the platelets to happen. So these are antiplatelets. Okay. Then there are 4 classification of anticoagulants. Okay. And today I've taught you the first classification, that is heparin and lower molecular weight heparin. Okay, so these two heparin injections are very important because they are commonly used in the wards. They are commonly used in emergency department also. Okay, and so I've explained to you in details about heparin. What is their generic name? What is the trade name? What is the available dose, okay, that is available, and when we should give, what are the indications, which disease condition we should give injection heparin, okay, what are the side effects, and what are the nursing responsibilities that we have to follow, okay, while giving injection heparin. Then again, then after that I have explained to you about lower molecular heparin injection, okay. A very important injection, we call it as injection enoxaparin, okay. So this is a pre-filled syringe, okay, pre-filled medication. We do not we do not have to use the syringe, we do not have to use needle to load the medicine. This is ready-made medicine which is available in the pharmacy, and the needle of this injection is a hypodermic needle. It is a very small needle, so we can give uh, by giving at 90-degree angle injection, okay. So I've explained to you the brand name, the chemical name, the dose that is available, what are the indication when we should give injection in enoxaparin, what are the contraindication when we should not give injection in enoxaparin, and the nursing responsibility, okay. So the conclusion here is that when we give injection in enoxaparin, or if we are giving injection heparin, or if we are giving injection anticoagulant medicines, we have to observe if there is any bleeding, continuously bleeding. Okay, so if we observe that the patient is having continuously bleeding after giving the anticoagulant medicine, then we have our first action is to stop the injection. Okay, stop the injection, should not give any more of injection heparin, and inform to the doctor. Okay, inform the doctor that the patient is having bleeding, okay, after a few hours after giving injection heparin or after giving injection enoxaparin. Okay, because if patient is continuously bleeding, so patient can undergo, they can go into shock, and a hemorrhagic shock, okay, which is a life threatening situation. Okay, so that is why we have to be very careful when we are giving anticoagulant medicine. Okay, because the overdose of injection heparin is hemorrhage. Okay, is this clear with everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.